Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com, and we're back with this week's new... No, wait, no, it's not new comic book day. It's actually free comic book day. Now, not today, but this coming Saturday is free comic book day. And so comic shops all over the United States and even around the world are celebrating Free Comics Day. It's we're back to our regular scheduled Free Comic Book Day, where it's the first Saturday of the month of May this year. So it ties in greatly. Doctor Strange opens this week, so they time it into that. So there's lots of books. So this is just one pile of them. So what we're gonna do, so I got a chance to read all of them, all except for one. There's only one that I'm missing. But before I get to that, let me thank my local comic shop, Pulp Fiction Comics, in Long Beach, California. Ryan graciously let me borrow these or have them. I'm going to return a lot of them because I don't necessarily need more comics. I'm probably like most of you. But it allowed me to give you a preview and to kind of talk about, the ones you should kind of keep an eye out for while you go to your local comic shop. Once again, Pulp Fiction Long Beach, California is where I get all my comics. And also the great thing that they do is they work with the Long Beach Rescue Mission. And so what it is everybody gets one free comic. And then if you bring non-perishable food, or you can make a cash donation, then you can get more free comics. So that's what they do. They give them back to the community. Also, I want to make sure that when you do if you do go to your local comic shop this Saturday to get some free books, make sure that you buy some other products from them. Whether it's comics, graphic novels, or whatever, they have to actually pay for all these. These are not free. They actually pay for each copy. It's a very minimal. It's anywhere from 10 cents to a quarter per book. So they're not really making money off these free books. So that's why it's good to, when you go there, make sure you buy stuff from them to help support, help pay for these books and really support your local comic shop. So we're going to do this in batches. So first we'll go through the ones that are pure reprints. So normally when I do the for those of you who watch the normal comic book reviews, I always put the cover on here, but there's so many books to go through that it's just going to take way too much time. So I'll try to hold them up so you can get a look at them for the cover. And we're going to go from there. So we're going to kind of do these pretty quick through the reprints, and then we'll start there. But I did want to say there was one book that he either wasn't able to order or it got lost in the shuffle, and that would be It Won't Always Be This graphic memoir from 10 Speed Press. So that's literally the only one that we are missing from this. So like I said, we're going to start with the reprints. So Dynamite has Red Sonja. It's a reprint of the period from Marvel Comics. It's got a Frank Thorne story. It's Red Sonja. If you've never actually seen the early Frank Thorne stuff, this is a nice introduction to it. They picked a good story and everything to go with. We also have Donald Duck. It has 3 separate stories in it. With him and Uncle Scrooge and Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Those are great. They're really great for the kids. One of the more interesting ones, Barbaric. Now, this is a reprint of #1, so it's the first full issue. So if you didn't catch that, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I reviewed it when it came out. It was really a big, surprising book. The next one is Three Stooges comic. So there's 3 stories in that one. And they're actually pretty fun stories. I mean, I don't know if the kids are going to know who the Three Stooges are, but they're fun, goofy stories and everything. Then we have this one's a really nice one if you've never read it. Jonah and the Impossible Monsters. This is really good. It's from Chris Samnee, who I'm a big fan of, and he does Firepower. And this is really a good book. It's a great all ages book, and that is not only great for kids, young adults, but for parents and anything. That one I really recommend, even though it's a reprint. Then there's the Viz comic doing the Pokemon. These are reprint stories, but if the kids like Pokemon, this fun stuff. Also another manga title. This one is Wand Dance, but it is also flip book with Blackguard. So those are two reprint stories that are kind of interesting. Then we have Kaiju. That was actually I did read this. This was actually kind of interesting. It was kind of wild and everything. I did like that. And then finally, for the last reprints, we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's celebrating the 25 years of Buffy, and so it's a primer if you haven't seen Buffy in a long time, or have never read Buffy comics or seen the show. That actually kind of gets you up to speed and kind of tells you what's going on in the Buffyverse. So those are the ones that are pure reprints. There are some good choices there. Like I said, I think the two for me, the biggest of the best choices in the reprint books are the Barbaric and Jonah and the Impossible Monsters. I think those are the two big picks for that. So now these set of books are the preview ones. So they're excerpts from either comics or graphic novels that are coming out or have been available. So DC's got two of these. There's Super Pets. This is one of their young adult books that's coming out. And of course, it's timed coincidentally. The book's coming out at the same time the Super Pet movie is coming out. So this is actually a really cute story. It also has a preview for Primer that's an original character. That's already out, but the Super Pets will make a good one for kids. Excuse me. One of the really interesting previews was Galaxy, the Prettiest Star. Now, this is a new young adult book from DC. It's from their line. It's original character and everything. I read this preview because I was kind of the artwork is absolutely amazing. I will cover my face and show you the artwork, which is absolutely stunning in the book. The story was really interesting, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. And the other nice thing that DC did is they show you this is their young adult line, so if you pick up that preview, I really am a big fan of the DC young adult and kids line. Those are really wonderful books. Image and Skybound's got Clementine, which is from the Walking Dead Telltale game. So this is a preview of the graphic novel that's coming out later this year. There's also a preview of Everyday Hero Machine Boy and Sea Serpent's Heir. Those books are coming out. So these are previews. This is actually, these are reprints from the Skybound X anniversary, the 10th anniversary. It's really good if you haven't read it. Then we have Neverlanders, which is a young adult graphic novel. It's going to be written by Tom Taylor, one of my favorite writers currently right now. He's writing Nightwing, Dark Knights of Steel. This is really interesting. It's a take on, I wouldn't say Peter Pan. It's more about the Lost Boys and Neverland. So that's I actually really enjoyed that. That was really interesting. Then we have the In Call universe. That has there's a new one coming out by Mark Russell and Yannick Paquette, and it's really nice looking. I'm really looking forward to that. This was the stories were created by Jaworski and Mobius, and if you're into science fiction, this one's really quite good. Then we have Boom's got the Hollows coming out, which is a take on Sleepy Hollow, which is quite interesting. I did actually read this one. I liked it. It was good. One of the more unusual ones, and I did like this, was Fuzzy Baseball. So what it is, it's just a kind of a classic baseball story, but told with different animals. And I really like the artwork on this one. This one is a really nice looking book. And if you have kids that are into baseball, this one would definitely be worth checking out. Then we have Guardian of Fukushima, which is a story based on the tsunami and earthquake that happened in Japan a few years back. It's really interesting. It's kind of a a true story, but kind of built in with mythology and everything. Then we have Tress. This is going to be a Netflix series or a miniseries. I'm not sure. It was kind of interesting. I wasn't necessarily I wasn't overwhelmed with the artwork, but I thought the story was kind of interesting. Then we have Enemies. It's another young adult. You see a lot of the previews for young adult titles because these things are really, really huge and really driving the young adult market. This was interesting. I did enjoy it. And then the last one is Primos. Which is a preview of a new miniseries coming out from AWA. What's interesting about this, it not only includes a English version, but a Spanish version because it does take place in Latin America. So this was kind of interesting. And so if you have maybe kids that are learning Spanish or learning English, this might be something to pick up. I would say really... The Clementine would be a big pickup if you hadn't read that. The Neverlanders is definitely a good choice. Fuzzy Baseball was a big win, and then of course the two DCs, the Super Pets and Galaxy, the Prettiest Star. Those were really I think the high points for the previews. But once again, they're previews, so. Just take that into consideration that they're just showing you part of the story on that. Okay, so now we have the final giant pile. Now all these books have new or exclusive material in them. Now, so the interesting one is the best of Archie comics ever. So what this is, it does have a new framing story, but it does reprint some recent Archie stories and stuff. So it's a little bit of old new, but it did have new material, which is kind of interesting. I think Archie's always a perennial favorite. Then we had Stranger Things and Alien. These are two brand new stories that are exclusive to Free Comic Book Day. So with Stranger Things coming to Netflix, the newest season, you might want to check this out. This one I was actually surprised. It's apparently not reprints. So we have Captain Underpants, Dogman, and Cat Kid. And it is I've only marginally read some of these books. I mean, they're really popular, but apparently these are new stories created for this book. So that's what they're telling me. So I'm going to go by what they say. This one is the really big one I was excited about. The Bone Orchard Mythos Prelude. This is going to be this is a setup story for the new Jeff Lemire, Adriana Sorrento universe of stories, and it was really good. I've been a big fan. They're doing there's like a couple graphic novels and then a series they're connected, but they're separate stories. They kind of take place in the same universe. So that one's definitely like really I highly recommend that. Marvel's got a double dose. So we have the Spider-Man half of a story, and then a Venom story that kind of tie into their current. It's kind of a taste of the current books. So if you've been curious about Spider-Man and Venom, this is kind of gives you a good feel of what the new creative teams are doing in that book. Then we have Doctor Who. Titan has been putting out Doctor Who comics for quite a while now, and this has got an all new story in it. So if you're a Doctor Who fan, definitely check that out. Once again, Dark Horse kind of always has an Avatar comic, which is always a win. Actually, the Avatar story is really good. There's also a Legend of Korra story in here too, but the Avatar story was really, it was kind of like a kind of a bit of an homage to like Peanuts and stuff in the style and everything. I actually really thought that was great. DC brings their big gun for summer with Dark Crisis. So this has all news story leading up to Dark Crisis. It has a recap of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this is going to be one of the big ones because this kind of sets it up in a way. It kind of bounces off of last week's the death of the Justice League 75. So there's that. Now, Marvel Voices only has one new story, but it is a Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl story. The rest of them are reprints from their previous Voices story anthologies that they've done. So that's kind of worth checking out because it's been people who are not necessarily like regular comics writers and artists do it, and it's kind of interesting because they take characters and present them, with there was one for Asian characters and stuff like that, and the LBGT characters. So if you've ever kind of been interested about those characters, that is kind of worth it. And the Moon Girl's news story is actually quite fun. Then we have Marvel's big crossover event, Judgment Day, which is it's the Avengers, the Eternals, and X-Men. And so this is all new stories leading into that crossover that's Marvel's big event for the summer. Then we have Bloodborne, which does have some new material, but I will say there's not a lot of new material. There's a lot of like previously on, it has that, and then it has kind of a short story, and then it has designs and stuff. I mean, it is new material, but there's not kind of a lot there. So I'd be cautious on that one. It was interesting, but not. I would consider that more of a preview than really like a full story on that one. Then we have Bunny Mask, which I've actually been quite a fan. It's got 2 new stories in here from Aftershock, and it's got the original team doing. They're just 2 new stories about Bunny Mask. So it's a great horror comic. I've been a big fan of it, and so it's this is a good if you like horror comics, definitely check this one out. Then another new one, Nottingham, kind of takes place in the kind of Robin Hoodish era period. And it's kind of interesting. I did Adrian Mutai does the artwork, and it's really a nice looking book. He also does Bunny Mask, so you can actually get 2. He's got artwork in two free comics this year, so he's wins in that category. The Overstreet Comics Guide is basically an illustrated thing to kind of tell you about the history of comics and how to collect them, how to go to your local comic shop and what to look for and things like that. It's kind of like it kind of tells you about the history of comics and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. Then we have Street Fighter's Master, and what I loved about this is actually a silent story. There's no dialogue, but it's really interesting. I really Udon's been doing Street Fighter comics like forever at this point. It was really interesting. I was actually kind of surprised. So if you have kids that are into video games and stuff like that, and the art's really nice. Now this textbook. It is original, but it is also kind of a preview. It's more of an old school. It kind of reminds me of a little bit like old school Tarzan, back in the day, Joe Kubert and stuff like that. So it's it was interesting. And I actually liked the black and white artwork. It was kind of nice. Then we have the Winchester Mystery House. that is the kind of the Winchester story of where it was haunted and she kept building rooms and stuff. It was quite interesting. I was actually really kind of taken back and kind of surprised. The artwork wasn't actually not too bad in this. It was pretty decent. Now, Valiant's another one where there is one new story in the front and the other ones are more previews. The Bloodshot is the new story, and then the other ones are more previews of series that are already out. It's got Bloodshot, Archer and Armstrong, and Ninja Jack. It was interesting. I did like the Bloodshot story, but once again, it only has the one short. Bloodshot is the only new thing in it. Then we have IDW has got the Sonic the Hedgehog license. That one's always popular. It's Sonic the Hedgehog, and they're cute little stories, and it is what it is. The Rima Chronicles is actually a young adult book that's coming out, but this is actually not a it is kind of a preview, but it's a self-contained story that I guess leads into it. To the story, so it'll be really interesting. The story was really good, and I actually really enjoyed the artwork. It has a nice look to it. It was interesting. Scholastic, is big into the young adult books. Another one, especially for the kids, was Max Meow. A lot of these kind of have a similar look because, once again, Captain Underpants and all those, once something becomes big, there's kind of, visual copycats. It's a cute little story. I mean, it's definitely aimed at the kids. It's the artwork's actually really kind of adorable. And once again, a lot of these are definitely aimed at a younger audience, which is good, but I actually found it pretty entertaining. The Electric Black, it was unfortunately it was kind of this, like, the story wasn't that great and the art was kind of but it is kind of a horror book, so maybe if that's something you're looking for. I thought it was kind of disappointing, but yeah, it's free, so I think it was one of those that had some good ideas. I actually like the backup story. There's the White Lodge backup story I thought was actually better than the main story. Then we have Equilibrium, which it takes a bunch of Silver Age and superheroes, and it's unfortunately not very good. It's sadly not very good. Then we have Red 5 with Carry. There's three stories in here. There's the Carriers, which is about these. Think of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but they're carrier pigeons. Then there's Bjorn and Dragon Whisper, which are kind of the Bjorn is a short little story, so that's kind of an interesting. And Dragon Whisper is more of a preview, but it is the Carriers is a new story. The Best of 2000 AD only has the first story is the only new one. The rest of them are reprints, but it's a neat little Judge Dredd story, short story. So if you like Judge Dredd, that was worth checking out. Then the 10 Ton Press Tales. The first story was actually kind of interesting. It was kind of a cute little story. I liked it, and then it had some other stuff in there that was just kind of weird. There was kind of a rock and roll, there's kind of a rock and roll comics that preview for that has the Foo Fighters biography, and then there was just this artwork at the end. It wasn't even a story; it was just weird. But I will say that the first story was actually pretty cute. And then the last one is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So this is a new story, and what's interesting is it is kind of a slight retelling. So this is the new artwork by I believe it's Sophie Campbell. Let's look. Yes, it is Sophie Campbell. But what's interesting is they show you how it's kind of they took, this is from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first issue, and they kind of changed the story a little bit it's a retelling of that story in kind of a different way. So that is all of them. I would say of these ones, really, the Dark Crisis was definitely I enjoyed it. I don't know that we need another crisis, but we have it because it does have new art. But this one to me is the one to get. This is absolutely the one to get. But now remember, this is for definitely for a more adult audience. This is not for kids at all. And then the Max Meow was actually a lot of fun. I actually did really enjoy it. Rima was another big winner in this category. The Street Fighter was surprisingly good. I really did enjoy this. I was really pleasantly surprised. I think a lot of it was because it's a silent story, and Nottingham was interesting. I think that's interesting. It would be something to check out. I think Bunny Mask is definitely another big win in this category. And the Avatar was quite surprising. The Avatar: The Last Airbender was really just an adorable story. And then the Stranger Things was actually a good little story, and I had never seen I'd never read a Resident Alien, and that's kind of what Free Comic Day is about. So obviously a lot of people are going to pick this up for Stranger Things, but Resident Alien actually had a good little story in it. So that is this year's Free Comic Book Day. There's a lot to choose from there. I think there's a lot of good choices. Once again, I thankfully Ryan, the owner of Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, graciously lent me these books so I could read them ahead of time and kind of give you some tips on which ones to look for. Really, I think the really big thing that's the most important is make sure that when you go to the comic shop, don't just get free comics. Go buy some comics, buy some graphic novels. I know Ryan has stocked up on things, both comics and trade wise. And I'll be there if you happen to live in the area. I'll be there all day helping out, slinging free comics and helping people look for things that they might be interested in. That you know, if they want to get into comics, there's plenty of stuff to get into. But the point of Free Comic Book Day is to get people excited about comics, especially kids. Kids love comics, and it's really a good opportunity for them to get into reading, which is very important. And of course, you know, these three books are like huge sellers in the world of comics, and it's just really support your local comic shop, have a good time out there, be safe, and hopefully you'll be able to get the books you want, and just have a good time, be safe, and just make sure that you support your local comic shop no matter where it is. And well, we'll have a full report after that, and later on this week, hopefully either tomorrow or Thursday, I'll get the new comic review up for this week's comics. It's actually a light week, so it's all kind of, this is all about Free Comic Book Day on this coming Saturday. So take care of yourselves, have fun this Saturday at your local comic shop, and take care of yourselves. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and just take care of yourselves and have a great Free Comic Book Day 2022. It's been so long since we've had a real free comic book day. So enjoy yourselves, take care, and once again, we end it with be kind out there and take care of yourselves. All right, bye-bye.